and Lords podcast.
Welcome to the Lord's Minute, our quick hit video series where we talk about all the biggest happenings in gaming and beyond. I'm your host, Ty Swinson, writer for Lords of Gaming. And with me today again is Lord King. Disney Plus has unveiled Moon Knight as it is 2 episodes deep in this new fantastic superhero adventure starring Oscar Isaac as Moon Knight himself. Lord King, what are we thinking so far?
Okay, well, when it was announced, I told people before on KOS, I forgot what episode it was, because I have the XM Studios Moon Knight statue there. Right. And when I got the statue, I was super, impressed with it because he's one of my favorite characters. He showed up in Werewolf by Night. I think it was like 30 or 31. And he was just like a throwaway character, to be honest with you. So to see them, Marvel, take such a hold of it and actually, make books about him and bring them to fruition and actually make a streaming series about it. It blew my mind away when they announced it. I was like, what? I went crazy. So I didn't really know what to expect because a lot of the Marvel series has either been up or down, started slow, or the production value, you didn't really see it so much in the beginning. But this is the only one so far that looks like it's a movie. The production quality is through the roof. The acting is top notch. Oscar Isaac has brung a level of dimension to the role and to the duality of the characters, the psyche between Mark Spector and Stephen Grant. And they're only talking about the two personas so far. And it's actually chilling to see him talk to himself, and you can see the distinct differences in the personas when he's talking to him because the mannerisms are different, the facial cues are different. The man is
carrying the performance.
It's absolutely insane, right? He doesn't waver in his speech because Mark Spector, talks with a New York City accent and is a little bit way more aggressive, whereas Stephen Grant talks with a British accent and is more timid, more cerebral in his approach of things. And the first episode, we really didn't understand what was going on. We seen a couple of things and we were trying to figure things out. Like, is he imagining this? Is this stuff real? We see that Stephen Grant is in some aspects a stepping stone or doorstop for people in his world, in his universe. And, the people in his circumference don't really think too much of him.
Right.
And to see his little journey every time he goes to sleep, because he knows he has this weird sleeping disorder. When he sleeps, he wakes up in different places, which is utterly terrifying because you see he has to put tape on the door and a bunch of locks on the door and chain himself in and then put sand to make sure he knows that he got out of the bed. Incredible stuff to see what he's endured. I didn't really get the goldfish thing until the second episode, right? So the first episode, I didn't understand why is he freaking out about the goldfish? And then I realized that those goldfish kept dying and Mark kept changing the goldfish every time he got there. So it was one distinct thing with the goldfish. He brought a goldfish with a cut fin and the goldfish was swimming around. But then he saw the goldfish the next time he woke up and it had both fins. And he's freaking out. And he takes the goldfish back to the store. And the lady's like, because they see the personas, but they don't understand what this guy is going through.
So for Stephen Grant, and I don't know too much about the comics of Moon Knight, but from what I gathered online, seeing the reception, is that the Stephen Grant we're getting from the show is pretty different from how Stephen Grant is.
Completely different.
Yeah. Yeah.
So all right. So the Stephen Grant that we get from the show is not the Stephen Grant that's the cab driver. You understand? Right. So, he technically he's supposed to have three different personalities, right?
Hmm.
It's supposed to be the the cab driver, slash museum guy, and that's well, Stephen Grant is the museum guy. The cab driver has a different name, but what they're trying to combine is Stephen Grant and the cab driver, but he's still so timid. I like that they removed the third character out of the way and allowed to just focus on the two characters, which is Mark Spector, which is the mercenary,
Hmm.
and they didn't really go into how he died yet, and why he's serving Khonshu yet. But
Right.
the realization that he's seeing these otherworldly creatures and this god Khonshu is freaking him out. He's finding things in his house. When he found the phone and the girl is talking to him on the phone, and she's like, I've been calling you for months. And she recognizes his voice,
Hmm.
and she's calling him Mark. And this must be unnerving and chilling to the character, where she knows my voice. She's calling me someone else's name. I have these blackout moments, and he's probably on a psychotic break. He probably
Right.
feels that he had a psychotic break in this whole thing. And then we get when he's transported to Latveria. I believe it's Latveria. I believe
Hmm.
that's the home of Doctor Doom, or the town. Well, he owns a country of Doctor Doom where this is
Hmm.
operating, and it only makes sense for me because it said somewhere. It's like some region, someplace. And I
Right.
honestly believe that it's Doctor Doom, and they're going to work that into it because Doom is a recluse. He doesn't come out of his castle. He really interacts with the people. So this can operate in that space. And it would make sense. These people have guns and stuff like that. So,
That would be very
um,
interesting.
yeah, I
So
thought it was. I think that's how they're going to introduce Doctor Doom.
yeah, it was definitely a very scenic moment at the end of episode two, seeing Mark swagger up to the vistas after drowning himself in his cups, and you can see the half-covered broken mirror that he had been
Mm-hmm.
battling with himself, and the fact that Steven's still trying to break free. And coming from an outside looking in, my first introduction to the character of Moon Knight actually didn't happen until one of my favorite Spider-Man games of all time, Spider-Man Web of Shadows, when
Yeah.
Spider-Man meets Moon Knight on the rooftops. I was like, well, who is this
Who's
character?
this? That's
So that character is very intriguing, and he's always been on the periphery for me. And the fact that all these years later we're now getting a show about Moon Knight is very cool, and I'm really liking the direction they're taking it. Because as a viewer, it's giving me very conflicting feelings about how I'm feeling about Stephen Grant,
mm-hmm.
Mark, Khonshu, and Moon Knight, because I love Oscar's performance, like you said, the distinct difference personalities of like he's almost on the level of like Billy D. Williams, of being able
Yes.
to reinvent himself so creatively. And especially with Stephen Grant, because with battling with these different consciousness and being the new Avatar or Khonshu, it's showing how debilitating a mental illness can be. And
Yes.
Stephen's trying to basically he's undergoing this journey becoming a superhero in a life that he didn't ask for, and having to reconcile that he basically has lost all this time he didn't realize that he lost. And how does one step forward from that? And I can really feel the friction as episode two was climaxing, and everyone, Layla, Mark, myself included, I'm like, Steven, bro, please just do this. And
Yeah.
he couldn't at first. And that's how it is sometimes with mental illness. So I applaud Oscar Isaac.
Well, he
Um,
didn't want to give in because he thinks he's a bad guy.
right. He thinks
Yeah, because
he's not
he got the
trusting Mark
divorce. Yeah,
still.
he got the divorce papers. He's when he said, "I will never divorce you," like
Right.
because she's the woman of his dreams.
Yes. Yeah. They got the Egyptian history, the
Yes,
hieroglyphics, the
the
poetry.
poem, the poetry.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and she's hearing him speak French, and he's reciting her favorite poet,
Yeah.
and he's like, "Oh my God, he is losing his mind because he doesn't get out to date much, and that
Yes.
one date he did was supposed to go on.
Doesn't know
He
how to order a steak.
yeah, he woke up on Sunday, and it was supposed to be that Friday.
Mhm.
Um, Absolutely insane stuff. I like the way he was locked away. But when Layla gets there and she tells him use the suit, he doesn't know what the suit is. He doesn't
Yeah.
understand what the suit is.
Nope. You're saying suit, like, huh?
Right. So then when he falls out the window and he does get hit, his body
He thinks
instinctively
of an
goes to save itself. He
actual
brings
suit.
out the Mr. Knight persona. So
Hmm.
in the comic books, there's Moon Knight, then there's this
Hmm.
Mr. Knight persona where he wears that suit. It blew my mind that Marvel took the time out to give you the Mr. Knight persona. And that's actually Stephen Grant. Well, how they depicted it is Stephen Grant is in control now. A little
Yeah.
bit more cerebral, a lot less combative, but he still has the strength of Moon Knight.
Yes.
So he's fighting this invisible character that everybody thinks he's bugging out, which he's not. And he's
Hmm.
actually fighting this manifestation that Ethan Hawke, let's give a shout out to Ethan Hawke and his portrayal of the avatar of what is it?
Amen.
Atom. Yeah, Atom. She ushers the people to the dead. That she weighs your heart on a scale.
Hmm.
Now, normally in Egyptian culture, that was Anubis, but stuff got retconned and
Yeah.
moved around. So we're gonna go with the fact that it's Atom. She has a gator head, and he's trying to bring her back to life. And you know, when Stephen Grant was sitting there talking to him in this little beautiful village that he had there, this utopian village, and they're going on the thoughts of how this got this way. And he's explaining to him that he judges people before the crime even happens. That's a slippery slope.
Hmm.
And, you know, Stephen Grant is sitting there like, so you're going to judge babies? You're going to really kill babies? This is
Hmm.
what it's about right now. And he said, I can't really get with that, you know, and it felt like Minority Report all over again for me. And I said, yeah, you know, because that is a slippery slope. A lot of people say you can go back in time and kill a young baby, what is it, dictator.
Yeah,
But
it's like
who's to
nature
say,
versus nurture moment.
right? Who's to say this dictator will become that if this isn't, you know, certain things aren't changed? So I get it. I see the conundrum and I see the battle, but I see the powers being used and he actually gives himself over to Mark, and you get the chance to see Mark actually in full Moon Knight mode.
Hmm.
And you get to see him jump across the roof, and you get to see him use the moon sickles. What I love about the character is the distinct difference between him and Batman, because there's a lot of thought that he's Marvel's Batman.
Right.
Well, he's not. He actually has superpowers,
Hmm.
right? So that's the complete distinct difference. And, you know, as a mercenary, he does have money, but he doesn't have money like Bruce Wayne,
Yeah.
right? So, and the gadgets aren't there. So let's move away from that. Let's stick to this mystical character. The fact that Doctor Strange into the madness into the multiverse is going to touch on this side,
Hmm.
and we're gonna have Blade, and we're gonna have the dark,
Hmm.
what is it, the Dark Knight, the Black Knight, and other characters that fall in line with Marvel Knight characters and Moon Knight. I see the West Coast Avengers happening
Hmm.
because this character is part of the West Coast Avengers, and at some point in time, they're going to get that back together. I can't wait to see because he's in Egypt, he's in Cairo, and I think the next episode is the jumping off point that's going to turn it incredible. I
Yeah.
can't wait. He was sitting there with a bottle. He knows what he has to do, but he also knows that Khonshu's a liar and Khonshu's a
Hmm.
manipulator
Yep.
because he's holding the fact that if you don't continue this on, I'm going to take your wife and make her my avatar, and she's accepting to this proposition. So, you know, play your role. And that's like holding the pendulum over his head. You know,
Yeah.
he has to do what Khonshu is saying, or this is the result. And I love it. I love the
Yeah.
whole chain of it. It's a beautiful series so far for me.
Yeah. Same. I'm very much looking forward to how the series develops. Very compelling character with Stephen Grant, Khonshu. This has been the Lord's Minute. Thank you so much for joining us. We're here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at lordsofgaming.net. This Winston here with Lord King, and this has been the Lord's Minute.
Hey.